What surprising origins do iconic goth bands have? Imagine discovering that some of the most defining bands of the goth scene actually started in very different musical worlds. It might surprise you to learn that many of these bands didn't begin as goth acts at all. Instead, they grew out of punk, post-punk, or other alternative styles before evolving into the dark, atmospheric sounds we now associate with goth music. For example, Siouxsie and the Banshees formed in London after frontwoman Siouxsie Sue and Stephen Severin met at a Roxy Music concert in 1975. They initially played punk-inspired music, but over time, their sound shifted to include gothic rock, alternative, and even experimental instruments like the cello and accordion. Their early gigs were at punk festivals, but they soon became central figures in the gothic scene. Bauhaus, often called the first gothic rock band, started with a post-punk sound and released the song Bela Lugosi's Dead in 1979. This track introduced a theatrical vampire aesthetic and dark sounds that set the tone for gothic rock. Their stage presence with capes and chanting helped define goth theatrics. The band's roots were in post-punk, but their style became a blueprint for goth music. The Cure also came from the post-punk and new wave scene. Robert Smith's distinctive voice and romantic, dark lyrics helped shape the darkwave subgenre. Their sound spans many styles, but their influence on goth is undeniable. Joy Division, another post-punk band, is often seen as a goth influence because of their brooding, atmospheric music and themes of despair and alienation. Even though they didn't call themselves goth, their mood and aesthetic helped shape the genre. Bands like Killing Joke drew from funk, disco, dub, and heavy metal, creating what they called tension music. Their politically charged, morbid style contributed to the proto-goth sound, even though they resisted the goth label. The Cult started as a post-punk band with heavy metal influences, but their dark, atmospheric tones and provocative lyrics made them influential in gothic rock. Fields of the Nephilim combined gothic rock with psychedelic and heavy metal sounds, adding a cowboy dust-covered aesthetic that made them stand out. Lacuna Coil, emerging in the 1990s, mixed gothic rock with alternative metal and added symphonic and electronic elements, showing how goth music evolved over time. The goth subculture itself grew from the late 1970s punk and post-punk scenes, with fans adopting dark clothing, makeup, and themes of death and romance. The Batcave Club in London, opened in 1982, became a hub for goth culture, where key figures like Peter Murphy, Robert Smith, and Siouxsie Sue influenced fashion and performance. So, many of these iconic goth bands started in very different musical worlds, experimenting and blending styles before becoming symbols of the goth scene. Their origins reveal a transition from raw punk energy to a more theatrical, dark, and atmospheric sound that defines goth music and culture today.